In this video, we're going to talk about strange things that have fallen from the sky. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for our future updates. Weather can be seriously strange. Rain, snow, hail, and other ordinary forms of the precipitation can be troublesome. Can you imagine if fish, spiders, or even a strange substance that looked a whole lot like blood started raining down from the above? Well, some people around the world certainly can. Here are strange things that have fallen from the sky, so let's start. Number 10. Fish. There are fish that are in the air and fish that are falling. Although undoubtedly strange, the sight of the fish falling from the sky is not as common as you might believe. There's perfectly scientific explanation for it. Stormy weather can produce water spouts in coastal locations, a tornado-like phenomenon that can actually draw marine life from the lakes and oceans. The fish will eventually be carried inland by the wind and settle in a heap. It's been reported everywhere, most recently 2017. These places include Sri Lanka, Australia, and Mexico. If the fish are eatable, locals in the afflicted areas may occasionally view the fish rain as a blessing. The rain of fish is indeed celebrated in Euro, a small community in Honduras, at least once per year. Number 9. Frogs. In addition to humans, water spouts can take the lives of frogs, which can startle people living on land as they fall from the sky. There are accounts, some dating back to ancient times and others more recent, of the frogs and toads falling from the sky. Heraclides Limbus, an ancient Greek philosopher, described the instances in which so many frogs fell from the sky that the houses and roads have been full of them. In 2005, residents of Ozaci, Serbia, saw thousands of tiny frogs fall with passing storm clouds. Heraclides Limbus, an ancient Greek philosopher, wrote about these instances. Even though the long fall would sometimes be fatal for the creatures, other times they will survive and hop and amble around their new environment. Villagers in Serbia, for example, stated that the frogs that had fallen off their perches just hopped away to find a source of water. Number 8. Iguanas. Iguanas that have crashed from the sky have not been found to have been killed by the water spouts, in contrast to their counterparts that live in the water. It's possible that this scientific phenomenon is considerably more strange than we thought. Iguanas fell from the sky in southern Florida as a bizarre side effect of the devastating bomb cyclone that struck the region in the winter of 2018. Even though they were still alive, the cold-blooded organisms were absolutely motionless and unresponsive because the temperatures dropped to such a low level that their bodily systems stopped working altogether. That, of course, meant they were no longer able to grasp tree branches, and as a result, they fell out of their trees, which caused many Floridians to become alarmed. Number 7. Golf balls. You have most likely heard cautionary tales of hail. That's the size of the golf balls. But what about actual golf balls? In 1969, news accounts described dozens of incidents near which exactly these things were seen falling from the sky in Punta Gorda, Florida. Perhaps even more peculiar is the fact that none of the neighborhood's golf courses were missing any balls. It was never completely established why this occurred, but the consensus amongst industry professionals was that a water spout was responsible for retrieving all of the golf balls that had been hit into the water by careless golfers. Number 6. Spiders. A rain of spiders, a true horror show, does not occur as infrequently as people who are afraid of the spiders might wish it did. It took place in 2015 in Australia, of all the places, and then even more recently in 2019, it occurred in Brazil. However, in contrast to the fish and the frogs, the spiders did not have their houses ripped away from them by the tremendous storms. The spiders launched themselves into the air through a process known as ballooning, in which they produce filaments to add in their ascent. This process gives rise to the spider rains. They do this in the hope that they will be carried away by the wind current to a new site, and this is something that they do quite frequently. You wonder why spider rains aren't more often, despite the fact that you probably aren't too upset about this fact. This is because it's quite unusual for a very large number of spiders to act in this manner all at the same time. For a mass ballooning to take place that results in the spider rain, the weather conditions have to be exactly ideal. Number 5. Coffee additives. In 1969, a South Carolina firm that produced non-dairy creamer, Cremora, was having difficulty due to faulty air vents in the production facility. As a result of the blocked vents, the powder mixture was able to escape into the air, where it combined with the falling rain to create a sticky mess that landed on the Chester, South Carolina. Borden, the company that manufactured Cremora, was required to pay a fine of $4,000 for allowing their product to be released from the plant. However, this payment was not made until 1991, more than 20 years after the product was originally released. Number 4. Meat. What if the movie Cloudy with a Chance of the Meatballs actually happened? Not exactly. This so-called meat train consisted of chunks of meat rather than individual meatballs, and it was not something anyone would want to eat, or perhaps you would, given that two locals in the town of the Olympian Springs, Kentucky in the year 1876 did, in fact, test a bite of the mysterious flecks of flesh that suddenly seemed to fall on their community. According to the two men, it had flavors similar to that of the mutton or venison, even thought it was never determined what caused the phenomenon. A chemistry professor asserted that the most likely explanation was that a flock of vultures was vomiting up on regurgitating their most recent meal. Number 3. Money. After all we have learned about meat and spiders, we will take this one any day of the week. There have been multiple instances throughout the history, including some more recent ones, of it literally raining money. For example, in 2015, the city of Kuwait was showered with currency of the United Arab Emirates, which amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of dirhams. In 2018, an airplane flying above the airport runway in Serbia was transporting gold and diamonds when it experienced a cargo spill. When one of our electricians in Indianapolis, Indiana spotted roughly $200 worth of the banknotes blowing off a roof while he was working on it in 2017, the city experienced a phenomenon that was quite similar to this one. Sometimes, as was the case in the Kuwait and Indianapolis, the origin of the money is never discovered, leaving the citizen and law enforcement baffled and unable to provide a satisfactory explanation. Talk about making it rain. Number 2. Space junk. Not that space trash makes reason to be in the sky in the first place. This one actually makes a little more sense. Sometimes, one of the many satellites or pieces of technology simply runs out of fuel in the orbit and falls down to the Earth. In fact, Tiangong-1, a complete model space station, is currently descending towards the planet's surface. Typically, if the equipment makes it through the re-entry into the atmosphere at all, it shatters into pieces, so the falling debris won't endanger anyone on Earth. Your chances of being struck by falling space debris are quite slim, according to life science. Your chances of winning the Powerball are 1,000,000 times higher, or you could just wait for money to fall from the sky. Number 1. Blood. Or is it? It sounds like a scene straight out of a city northwestern Spain actually did experience a real-life blood rain. Or at least, the red-tinged liquid falling from the sky looked a lot like blood and set Zamora residents guessing about the origins. It turns out that such red rains are totally natural. The red coloring comes from a type of the microalgae plant that produces a red pigment when it's in the state of stress, and scientists believe that its spores got trapped in the rain clouds. The odd part, though, is that these microorganisms aren't native to that area of Spain, so scientists are a little confused about how they travel to end up above Zamora. While the fact that it's not actually blood is a little reassuring, the sight is still unnerving for sure. As it turns out, regular old rain is actually pretty fascinating too. Check out these facts you never know about rain. What do you think of our video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.